Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Shabbat Shalom. Let's all take a big breath in together. How lovely does that feel? How lovely to be in the same room together after so much time apart. Let's begin on page 196 with Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi, God, the soul you have breathed into me is pure. You have gifted it to me. Page 196. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata Bi, Tehorahi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata Bi, Tehorahi. Ata verata, ata yetzarta, ata nefachta bi, ve'ata meshamra bekirbi. Elohai, Elohai, Neshama, Shenatata Bi, Tehorahi. Shabbat Shalom.
So as I said last night, Joshua, where are you, Josh? You're up here somewhere? Oh, there you are. Hey, looking good, man. It's good to see you. Thank you for giving us an opportunity to celebrate. Thank you for doing all of this hard work so that we can be here for something joyful. We have all needed a little bit more joy in our lives. And so, Joshua, you are doing a tremendous mitzvah by becoming a bar mitzvah. And I hope that you feel as good about it as we do, because we are just bursting with happiness. So thank you all for being here. Those of you who are here, a quick reminder as we begin. We know that it is a calculated risk to be here in person. So please make sure that the entirety of the time that you are in this space, make sure that your mask is going all the way from, I see you have the fancy ones that have like kind of some extra space up there, right? So all the way from the top of your nose to the bottom. We know this now, right? And aren't like half of you doctors anyway? Like you know, you know where your mask needs to be. So we thank you for following that protocol and enabling it so we can be here as safely as possible. For those of you who have not been to a bar mitzvah service at a Reformed synagogue before, this is our prayer book, Mishkan Tefillah, that Joshua will be leading us from this morning. We will be calling page numbers as we go through the service, and you will see that the book goes in the Hebrew direction, which means that what seems like the front is actually the back, what seems like the back is actually the front. And then on each page, you'll see that we have Hebrew and transliteration so that you can follow the Hebrew even if you've never spoken a word of Hebrew in your life. And you will see that there is English translation underneath. Then on the left side of the page, there are interpretive readings and poetry so that you can peruse that as well if that feels meaningful to you. If you get lost at any time, don't panic. Take a moment and stay for a second on the page that you are on, because as we always say, perhaps the page you are on is the page on which you are meant to be. And then soon enough, you'll hear another page number and you'll know exactly where to find us. So with that, we are here this morning to celebrate with Josh and the whole Gullinson family, and we are here to celebrate Shabbat, to have some time to take a breath, to be present in this space, some time to focus on our gratitude, and today also on our joy. So with that, we invite Annette and Scott to come and present Josh with his talit, the first time that he will wear this prayer shawl with the tzitzit that are a reminder of the many rules, most of which can be found in Joshua's Torah portion, Mishpatim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushani b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahitatef b'tzitzit.
Amen. We'll continue on page 192 or page 74 with Ma Tovu.
Yeah, I'm just getting him up here.
Okay, so we'll give him a minute. How's everyone doing? Yeah? Have a good breakfast this morning? Very nice. The weather's nice, right?
How wonderful are your tents, O Jacob, your dwelling places, O Israel, page 192. And even though we have masks on, we can still sing with our eyes, okay? Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael. Let's all try that. Ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, vani berov chastecha, ahavo veitecha, eshtacha velechal kodshecha, behiratecha. Everybody, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ma tovu, ohalecha Yaakov, mishkenotecha Yisrael, mishkenotecha Yisrael.
Let's continue with the morning blessings, page 198 or page 80. The second set of numbers is referring to the online Siddur. So those of you here in the room, it'll be the first set of numbers. And Joshua, these are the blessings that remind us of those small things we have to be grateful for.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lasavivina lachapim ben yom uvein laila, who's given the mind the ability to distinguish day from night.
And we all say, Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam pokeach irim, who opens the eyes of the blind.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam matir asurim, who frees the captive.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam zokef kefufim, who lifts up the fallen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Rakah ha'aretz al hamayim. You stretch the earth over the waters.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamechim et tzadei gaver, who strengthens our stead.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam malbish arumim, who clothes the naked.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hanoten layav koach, who gives strength to the weary.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavir shana meinai utnuma me'afapai, who removes sleep from the eyes, slumber from the eyelids.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sasani B'Tselem Elohim, who's made me in the image of God.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sasani B'Chorim, who's made me free.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Sasani Yisrael, who's made me a Jew.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Azer Yisrael B'Gvura, who gives Israel with strength.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Oter Yisrael B'Tifara, who grants Israel with splendor.
Amen.
Let's continue on page 218 or page 100. Oh, wait, which did I say was going to go first? 218 or page 100 if you're following on the online Siddur, Psalm 150, Hallelujah.
And I know you all know this melody, so please sing along with me. Hallelujah el bekodsho, Hallelujah birkia uzo, Hallelujah bigvurotav, Hallelujah kerovulo, Hallelujah beteka shofar, Hallelujah benevel vechinor, Hallelujah. Hallelujah, betof machol, Hallelujah, beminim ve'ugav, Hallelujah, betzilzelei shama, Hallelujah, betzilzelei trua kol haneshama tehallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah.
Continue on page 224 or page 106 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
יתקטל ויתחדש מהרפה, בעלמא דברח חירותי והמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון וחיי לכל בית ישראל, בגאלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו, אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך, לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם וינשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי לקודשה, בריחו לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא ואמרו Amen.
Let's continue on page 226 or 108 as we stand together for the Baruch Hu, our call to worship.
אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ומורה חושך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
המאיר לארץ ולדרים עליה ברחמים וכתובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה וראשית. מה רבו מעשיך אדוני כולם בחוכמה עשית. מלאה הארץ קנייניך תתברך אדוני אלוהינו על שבח מעשה ידיך ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפארוך סלה.
אור חדש על ציון תאיר ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות.
Josh, we invite you to come on back up to the podium as you lead us in the English on page 230 or 112.
How deeply you've loved us, Adonai, our God, gracing us with surpassing compassion, on account of our forebears, whose trust led you to teach them laws of life. Be gracious to us, teaching us as well. A merciful one, have mercy on us, by making us able to understand and discern, to heed, learn, and teach, and lovingly to observe, perform, and fulfill all that is in your Torah. Enlighten our eyes with your Torah. Focus our minds on your mitzvah. Unite our hearts in love and reverence for your name. Then we will never feel shame, never deserve rebuke, and never stumble. Having trust in your great, awesome holiness, we shall celebrate your salvation with joy.
Gather us in peace from the four corners of the earth and lead us upright to our land. For you, O God, work wonders. You chose us. Truly, you drew us near to your great name, that we might acknowledge you, declaring you one in love. וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול לסלע באמת, להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Let's be seated as Josh leads us in the Ve'ahavta, page 234 or 116.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'chayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anechi mitzavecha hayom alavevecha v'shinatam levenecha v'dibartam bam b'shitecha bebetecha uvleftecha baderech ushofbecha uvkumecha ushartam leo ayadecha v'chayu latotofo b'neinecha uvtatam al mezuzot betecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru vasitem et kamazotam v'datem kedeshim lelechem ani Adonai Elohim asher hotzeitem me'eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem Elohim ani Adonai Elohim
Adonai Elohim Emet.
We turn to page 239 or 121 and read responsively at the bottom of the page with Joshua.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war anymore.
You shall not hate your brother or sister in your hearts.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Ask God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise the God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
Let's turn to the next page and sing joyfully.
Everybody shake your hands out. Lie, 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 la, lie, la, 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 lie. Lie, lie, lie. It's okay to clap in shul. Ya lie, 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 ya la, 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 lie. Ya lie, 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 ya la, 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 lie. Keep that clapping going. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi chamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot oseh feleh. Nora tehilot oseh feleh. We can give our hands a break right now. שירה חדשה, שימחו גאולים, לשמחה לשפת הים. יחד כולם הודו והמליכו, הודו והמליכו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ועד. אדוני Israel, kulma be'ezrat Israel, ufedechnu mecha Yehuda ve'Israel. Go aleinu Adonai tzevaot shemo, kedosh Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Gale Israel.
Let's turn to page 244 or 124 as we stand together for the Amidah, opening our lips and asking God to help us find these words of praise.
Adonai sefatati tam
Ufia ki tehilatecha, Baruch atah Adonai,
Eloheinu
Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Ve'konei Hakol, Ve'zocher Chasdei Avot ve'imahot, U'mevii geula livnei bneihem, Leman shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor
le'olam Adonai, Mechakel ha'kol ba'atara le'oshia.
Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem, Mechalkel chaim bechesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim verofech olim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afan, Micha mocha bal gevurot, mido melach, melech memit umechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua, v'manata lechayo hakol. Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. We remain standing and continue with the Kedushah on page 248. Nekadesh et shimcha ba'olam כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מקום, כך כתוב על יד נביאך, וקרא זה לזה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. אדיר אדירנו, אדוני אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני, ממקומו אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו, הוא מלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל החי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. הללויה, 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 הללויה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד קולך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד קולך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי אל מלך גדול, כי אל מלך גדול וקדוש אתה. לדור ודור, לדור ודור, לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ולנצח נצחים, ולנצח נצחים, קדושתך נקדיש. ברוך אתה אדוני, ברכו ברוך שמו, האל, האל, הקדוש. Amen.
Let's be seated. Let's turn to page 250 or 132. Let's name that joy that we feel today.
Here we go, everybody. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 shama bekorei, oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 shama bekorei, oneg Shabbat. Mekadeshei shevi Shabbat, kulam yisve'u ve'yitanu mitu becha Shabbat. Let's all try that. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat bekorei, oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat bekorei, oneg Shabbat. Ve'hashvi ratzita bo ve'kidashto Shabbat, chemtat yamim oto karata Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat bekorei, oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat bekorei, oneg Shabbat. Zeicher Lemasei vereishit, zeicher lemasei vereishit. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat bekorei, oneg Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat bekorei, oneg Shabbat.
Let's turn to page 255 or 137 and read together at the bottom. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah. Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw near in life, in peace, and in joy. Baruch atah Adonai she'orcha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. We take this time now for our own private prayer and internal reflection.
page 258. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam, chen v'chesed, verachamim aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, amecha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Chen v'chesed verachamim, chen v'chesed verachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Let's try that. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Ki ve'or panecha, ki ve'or panecha natat lanu Adonai Eloheinu, Torat chaim ve'ahavat chesed u'tzedaka u'veracha verachamim ve'chaim ve'shalom ve'shalom. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Chen v'chesed verachamim, chen v'chesed verachamim, chen v'chesed verachamim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Sim shalom, tova uvracha ba'olam. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
We turn now to our Torah service. We begin to get ready to hear words of Torah, not just read, but chanted, and then not just chanted, but taught, as Josh tells us what learning about Parshat Mishpatim and becoming a bar mitzvah has meant to him. And as we prepare to read Torah, I think it is important to talk about, since we cannot physically do, the ritual, the tradition that typically happens at this time in the service, which is the passing of Torah from generation to generation. And we usually, if it was anything other than the cycle of time that is 2020 to 2021, we would be physically taking the Torah out of the ark and hand to hand passing it through the generations of Joshua's family to show how Torah has come to be in his hands. And because it's now, we aren't going to physically do so, but I do think it's important to mention and to notice that this week in Parshat Mishpatim, what we have is a passing literally down from the mountain of rules. First, Moses receives the 10 Commandments back last week in Parshat Yitro, and now this week the commandments just keep coming. The rules just keep coming. And at the end of this Parsha, which is a long Parsha with a lot of rules, some of which, Josh, made some sense, most of which, we'll hear more about that in a few minutes, right? But at the end of the Torah portion, the Israelites say these famous words to Moses and to God. They say, Na'aseh v'nishma, we will do and we will understand. And anyone who's spent some time studying Torah knows that these two words come up a lot, particularly because of how confusing they are. Typically, when we learn to do something, first we learn about it, we read about it, we get out the manual, we turn the pages, and then we understand how to do it. But not so with Torah. Not so in this Torah portion when the Israelites say, Na'aseh, we'll do it, Venishma, and then we'll hear you, then we'll understand it, then we will heed and take it to heart. And now, Josh, today as you become a bar mitzvah, as you participate in this process, it is possible that you will find that now that you have done all this work, na'aseh, now that you have done it, venishma, maybe now the meaning and the depth of it is beginning to settle in, and maybe now the meaning and the depth of it is beginning to be something that you understand. And perhaps over time and over the generations, it settles in even more deeply. That what this is, what this has been, what you have been a part of today has been a big thing. It has been an important thing. And it has been something that has carried you not just through the last few months, but it is something that without that passing of Torah from hand to hand and heart to heart that has happened in every generation of your family, that we come to stand here today. And as you take Torah into your hands today, and as you come to understand it in the days and years and decades to come, that na'aseh v'nishma, this is something that you will pass on for generations as well. And so we see not the generations only that have stood before you, but also the ones yet to come. And that by you hearing and doing and learning and understanding, Torah survives. It survives and it sustains us even through these strange times where we have to reinterpret our rituals, reinterpret our laws, reinterpret our rules and traditions so that we can come to understand what Torah means to us here and now. So Josh, na'aseh, you have done this. Venishma, you will come to understand just how important, there you are, and how impactful and how meaningful and how deep this process has been. And I'll say more nice things to you later, but I couldn't help but make this connection between the words the Israelites speak and this process of becoming. So with that, let's turn to Torah, page 362 or 244. Let's stand together.
Ein kamocha v'Elohim Adonai, ve'ein kema'asecha. מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. Av harachamim, heitim v'virtzonecha, et Zion. Tivnei chomot Yerushalayim, tivnei chomot Yerushalayim. פתחנו מלך אל רם ונישא אדון עולמים כי מציון תצא תורה כי מציון תצא תורה ולבד אדוני מירושלים ברוך שנתן תורה תורה ברוך שנתן תורה תורה לעמו ישראל בקדושתו Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadol Adonai Iti Uneromema Shemo Yachtav Lecha Adonai Hagintula Vehagimvura Vehatiferet Vehanetzach Vehahod Ki chol bashamayim uvaretz Ki chol bashamayim uvaretz Lecha Adonai hamamlacha vehaminaseh lechol lerosh Romemu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehar kodsho Romemu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehar kodsho Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. It's a joyous song, everybody now. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu veishtachavu lehar kodsho.
Let's be seated now, and Josh, not you, we invite you to come on up to Tor. Give Cantor a second to get his mask, and then come on up. Now you can come on up. Come on up to the podium. And this is the moment, Josh, where you are going to read and chant for us the Torah that you have learned. We are, as we said, we are reading from Parshat Mishpatim. If you are following along in the Plaut Chumash, I don't think anyone here has one. If there's anyone who's just itching to follow along, there's, I think, 3 commentaries over there on the shelf back there, if anyone would like it. If you are following along at home, we are in the Chumash on page 513.
It's also in their pamphlet.
Oh.
Page 3 of your pamphlet.
How long have I worked here? It only took that long. It is right there in the pamphlet when you open it. So you can follow right along with Joshua. Those of you at home, get your Chumash out, page 513. And for our first Aliyah, we invite your family. Josh, how nice. Annette, Scott, Julia, and Jenna.
Yamod Moshe, Tamod Avigail Diva Bat Moshe, Tamod Bracha Edna Bat Moshe, Yamdu Rishon.
Adonai Havavorach.
Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Havavorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Ha'olam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim Benatan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ve'ele hamishpatim asher tosim lifnehem. Ki tignem ever ivrim sheshanim yavim uvasra'id yetzer lachoshinam im bagapom ebo bagapom yetzer im ba'am isha huveyatzacham Ishto imo, imaranov, ito.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam natan b'chotenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Yasher Koach. Hugs and kisses. Now, this is the moment as we invite Joshua up for his aliyah. This is the moment that he actually becomes a bar mitzvah. So watch closely because it happens right before your eyes. So as everything that he has done so far in the service is something that can be done by any Jewish person who has learned how. But to say the blessing before the Torah reading is what one does to become a bar mitzvah, to become an adult in the eyes of the Jewish community. So, Joshua, we call you now for your aliyah as you become bar mitzvah.
Yamod, Yamod, Abachur bar mitzvah Yehoshua ben Moshe, Chazak v'nidhazek.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai Amvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'charbanu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Imadonav itilo isha v'yadalo banim o barno ha'isha v'yadeha tihye ladoneha v'hu yetze begepo v'im amor yomar ha'eved ahafti et adoni ishti v'banai lo et chofshi v'higisho Adonav el halachim v'higisho el haladel o el hamazazot v'rata Adonav ozno b'marze'ah v'avdo le'olam.
Good. Take your seat in your hands. Touch and kiss. Okay, good. Let's do the blessings afterwards. I'll take this. Good job. Nice and easy. Then you did before.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Hugs and kisses. Yasher Koach. Joshua, that was beautiful chanting, beautiful representation of Torah for us this morning. And as they hug, we are going to stand as we dress and lift and dress the Torah.
Let's everybody take a few steps back, okay? וזאת התורה אשר שם משה לפני בני ישראל על פי אדוני ביד משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה, 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 ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. תורה ציווה לנו משה. Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Torah tziva lanu Moshe.
Let's be seated as we turn to the reading of the Haftarah, which if you are in your book and, you know what, before Haftarah, we did not do it while the Torah was out, but that's okay. We can do it with the Torah near us. Let's turn to our prayer for healing. While the Torah is still in our presence, we draw strength from its teaching as we think of those in our community, in our families, in our world. And we know that especially now there are just so many of whom we are thinking who are in need of healing, whether it's healing of the body, healing of the mind, or healing of the spirit. You can find our prayer on page 371 or 253.
Misheberach Avotenu v'imotenu Avraham, Yitzhak, v'Yaakov Sachar, Rivka, Rachel, v'Leah Hu yivarech, hu yirapeh et hacholim HaKadosh Baruch Hu yemaleh rachamim aleichem lechalim amurapotam ulechazikam וישלח להם מהרה רפואה שלמה מן השמיים, רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, השתה בעגלה ובזמן קריב, ונאמר אמן.
May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. If there is someone you are thinking of and you would like to put their names into the chat on YouTube or Facebook, you may do so at this time. If there is someone you are thinking of and you would like to share their names with our community, we invite you to do so. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit. And let us say amen.
Amen.
We turn now to the reading of Haftarah. You can find the blessings on page 372 or 254. Haftarah is a supplemental reading that addresses the themes of the Torah reading. And in times when the public reading of Torah was not permitted, we would use Haftarah portions, these portions from the later books of the biblical canon, in order to still teach those same lessons and those same values. Today we'll be chanting from the book of Jeremiah, chapters 33 and 34. If you're following along in the Chumash, it is page 539.
So we're actually going to chant Shabbat Shekalim.
That's such a great idea.
So as Rabbi was saying, these are supplemental readings, but we also have times of the year where we do special Haftarah readings for special Shabbat. Let's just say this was your first time in a synagogue and you hadn't been in a synagogue for a while and you want to know what major holiday was coming next. There are 5 weeks that lead up to Passover, Pesach. This is the first of those 5 special weeks called Shabbat Shekalim. So let's just say you knew what the Haftorot were and you walk into the synagogue, you go, oh, that's Shabbat Shekalim. 4 weeks after this will be Pesach. So it's another way of keeping time. So that is on page 1451. And let's join together in the blessings before the Haftarah on page 372, or what's the special page number in the thin book? You'll figure it out, I think. Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nebiyim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem hanemarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'v'Moshe avdo u'v'Yisrael amo ובנביאי האמת והצדק. ויאמר יהואש אל הכהנים, כל כסף הקודשים אשר יובא בית אדוני כסף עובר איש, כסף נפשות ערכו, כל כסף אשר יעלה לביש להביא בית אדוני. ייקחו להם הכהנים איש מאת מכרו, והם יחזקו את בדק הבית לכל אשר יימצא שם בדק. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, צור כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות, האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל חי תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. Amen. So now we will invite up our bar mitzvah, Josh Gullinson, to share with us what he has learned from studying Parashat Mishpatim.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. My Torah portion is about laws and rules. But first, I want to talk about the time leading up to my Torah portion. I'll start when the Israelites left Egypt. The Israelites lived in Egypt for approximately 430 years as slaves. Then, approximately 3,321 years ago, they were freed. When Moses led them out of Egypt, he led them on a journey from Egypt to Canaan to Mount Sinai. That should have been an 11-day trip. But Moses and the Israelites wandered through the desert for 40 years. They lived according to the laws from the Torah, or the 630 commandments. God called Moses to be the leader of the Jews. So Moses and several elders climbed Mount Sinai. He received the 10 commandments from God during the 40 days and 40 nights he spent in Mount Sinai. The Israelites began to lose faith and felt the absence of God. They built a golden calf idol for which to worship, which was against God's wishes. When Moses returned to the Israelites, he provided the laws by which they would live. My Torah portion is Mishpatim, from the book of Exodus, and is about many of these, including the institute of slavery as part of their justice system. I found this Torah portion to be particularly interesting and bothersome. It was confusing to me that a society that was under Egyptian slavery for hundreds of years would still allow slavery as part of their justice system and laws. I have always viewed slavery with a very negative view. Usually, I think of people being whipped and beaten and living under harsh conditions in order to do work that nobody really wanted to do. And they, of course, would not be paid for it or appreciated. Why would such a horrible situation be allowed to continue amongst the Israelites? In my further research of slavery in Egypt, it seemed possible that my view of how life was as a slave was not accurate. Perhaps because they were so accustomed to that style of living and they didn't know anything else. They were numb to it. And perhaps that's why they weren't so horrified of slavery to disallow it in their society. Slavery was extremely common in the nations at the time around the world. In this Torah portion, I also noticed how unequal the rules were for slavery. They had many laws at the time, which were an eye for an eye, a tooth for tooth, and a burn for burn. But you could be put into slavery for not paying a debt. And it would have a certain term of time limit of 6 years. If a woman was sold into slavery by her parents, she'd be set free on the 6th year. If a man is put into slavery and is not married and his master gives him a wife and they have kids, he can choose to leave and give his wife and kids to the master, or he can stay for the rest of his life a slave and have his ears pierced to signify to God that he agrees. And then he can stay forever with his wife and children, all of them as slaves. If the slave owner strikes their slave and they don't die after 1 to 2 days, it is not punishable because the slave is their property. But it is punishable if they died right away. If you strike, insult, or kill your mother or father, that is punishable by death. I thought it was interesting that the Israelites didn't want to leave Egypt. Despite the issues of slavery, they were scared of what to expect if they were on their own. I thought of the 10 plagues. The first 9 plagues affected both the Egyptians and the Israelites. The Israelites actually had to agree to leave Egypt. They didn't want to because they didn't like the idea of something so new. Then the 10th plague happened, and they were released. So I grew to understand it took a lot to get the Israelites out of Egypt. They were used to how they lived, and they were accustomed to slavery. They needed leadership, and Moses could be that. They needed laws, and slavery was needed because it provided familiarity. It wasn't for life, but it was for specific punishment, and your freedom could be given back. In fact, the term usually was for 6 years, and you were released on the 7th. I think that this Torah portion teaches us not everything is fair, and not everything is equal. And sometimes being familiar with something is not always in your best interest for the future. You can roll with it, or you can be the source of changing it. I feel like this story has to do with me because of my sisters. Maybe not everything is completely fair between us, but we make our own ways and can agree and compromise sometimes. But this Torah portion did bother me a bit because it was about rules, and some of the rules were just not right. I also learned that if something doesn't go your way, or some people agree with something and some don't, there are ways to talk through that. And rules that don't make sense can be changed. And laws can be improved to be more equal. But in all, becoming a bar mitzvah to me means becoming more close to God and family. My Torah portion taught me to not be afraid and to follow the rules, and to help change rules that aren't fair or equal. These are among the many responsibilities of being a Jewish adult. Another responsibility of being a Jewish adult is becoming involved in mitzvah, or good deeds. To that end, I would like to talk about my participation in Boys Team Charity. This is an organization which was established to help enhance others' lives. As a member for the past 2 years, I have volunteered time towards helping the less fortunate. For example, on several occasions with BTC, I participated in events such as St. Vincent de Paul Kitchen, where we served and provided meals for the poor and homeless. I also participated in J.D. Lynn King Foundation Charity, where I volunteered time to wrap and prepare gifts to be given to the sick children at Phoenix Children's Hospital. In this charity organization, we participate in quarterly meetings where we learn fascinating stories about others and the challenges in life they were able to overcome. It can be awe-inspiring. These are just a few things we do in this organization, which I am proud to be a part of. Amongst many of the opportunities for charity work, these are a few of my favorites. My involvement in Boys Team Charity has taught me a great deal about caring for the less fortunate, helping to enhance others' lives and help the community, and is one of my Jewish mitzvahs. But in all, I want to thank the people that have improved my life and cared for me. First, I want to talk about my teachers, from the past and the new ones. I want to thank you for caring for me and teaching me incredible subjects and life lessons. I want to thank you for what all of you have participated in and what you have improved me in. Thank you for all you have done. Thank you to my friends for what you have done for me. And when I was down, you're helping me up. I want to thank you all for having a great time with me, from playing football or playing video games. I enjoy every moment of it. Cousins, I want to thank all of you for being there for me, from the oldest to the youngest. I always had a blast. On the Gullinson side, when we get together for Passover, it's always the best. I enjoy when I sit down with you guys and just talk. On the Gara side, when I am in Texas for the summer or any other time, we do activities with each other. I enjoy it. Even though we have many groups, all of you guys are the best. Aunts and uncles, I want to thank you for influencing my life. I want to thank you, each one of you, for the moments that we shared. I want to thank you for allowing me in your homes, taking care of me, and making some of the not-so-great times fun. From the fishing trips to the Shabbats, I want to thank all of you. Grandma, Grandpa, Wella, and Papa, I want to thank all of you for creating memories that will never leave. From when me and you, Grandpa, were making the model chips each Sunday, I had the best time you can imagine. Grandma, when you bring ice cream or cakes, you always bring the best. It's always so tasty, and especially enjoy all the times we spent together. And Grandma, your pictures are amazing. Keep doing them, and they keep telling me stories about your wonderful animals and your past. I truly enjoy it. Papa, I enjoy when you play cards or dominoes, and when I can help with the cows, I enjoy it. It's very, very kind of you. And how nice you are to the family. Well, I enjoy every moment with you, and when we visit Texas, you are very kind to me. I want to thank you. I also want to thank you for the amazing food you feed me and the family. I love each one of you, and I thank you all for what you have done for me. Julie and Jenna, I want to thank you both for supporting me and improving my life. When it comes from being bored at night and just talking to y'all, or when I would just sit there and see what you're doing. I like that you both include me in your life. I love that you both are kind and help me with my homework. I need you and I love you. That you are always there for me when I need you. Though I do not have too much to say, I want you to know that I always have your backs, and I hope you have mine. Dear Mom and Dad, I want to start with another thank you, though. I do bring struggles, and I know you're always right. I want to thank you both for being there when times are at its lowest. Though I have hard times, you guys are always there. I enjoy when we throw a baseball or football. Mom and Dad, even though Mom's wrist was bothering her, she would still do it. I know you both have a lot of stress on your backs, but somehow always pulled through. I still don't know how you two handled me, Julia, and Jenna, and the stuff we ask you, like when the boys come over. I know it puts more on you guys, but you always say yes, and I'm incredibly grateful for you guys and your honesty to me and everyone. One of my favorite memories with you is when I was younger and I refused to put a suit on. You would always make me, and I actually appreciate it now. That's because if I went in shorts and a tank top to temple, that would not be good. I probably wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for you guys. For your hard work, I respect both of you, though I might have a lot. You guys are family, and family is worth more to me than any other thing I own. I love you both, and all memories will stick with me forever. Thank you.
Beautiful words, Joshua. Thank you so much for sharing all of those beautiful lessons about Torah and how it connects to your love for your family. That's really lovely. So at this time, we will stand as we return the Torah to the ark. Josh, I'm going to ask your parents, Scott and Annette, to come join us on the bima. As we return the Torah to the ark, let's all stand.
יהללו את שם אדוני, כי נשגב שמו לבדו, הודו על ארץ ושמיים, וירם קרן לימו, תהילה לכל חסידיו, לבני ישראל עם קרובו, הללויה, הללויה. עץ חיים היא, למה חזיקים בה, ותומכיך מאושר. דרכיך דרכי נועם, וכל נתיבותיך שלום. השיבנו אדוני אליך ונשובה, חדש חדש ימינו, חדש ימינו כקדם.
Josh, we made it! When we first talked, Josh, you were feeling pretty ambivalent about all this, so much so that you didn't even really want to talk much about it at all. And then today, you had so much to say, and it was all so thoughtful and so articulate, and you had the confidence to both learn from Torah while also challenging Torah, which is exactly what it means to be Jewish. So as we sat together yesterday, we sat outside on these brand new patio chairs on the courtyard that we first took the plastic off of, right? And we had our Starbucks together. This is how we do Starbucks now, is I go through the drive-thru and then we sit 6 feet apart while we enjoy our drinks. And one of the things I always love to ask bar and bat mitzvah students is what you want to be when you grow up, because it tells me so much about you. And what you said to me is, you're like, well, do you remember what you said? Because I remember what you said. You said, well, I don't really know because I probably can't be a professional basketball player. Now, I don't want to rule it out because I haven't seen you play. As far as I'm concerned, it is totally possible that you're going to become a professional basketball player. I don't know, it's happened before. Not to me, but maybe to you. But let's say you don't, right? Let's say you don't become a professional basketball player. What you told me is that you love basketball and you love sports and you love video games because you're good at them. That you love that feeling of coming into a space and feeling like, I know what I'm doing here, and having others maybe even look up to you a little bit and seeing like, I've got something to learn from this guy, right? There is something in you that enjoys being the expert. Well, I don't know professionally what you will do when you grow up. I do know that when you are an adult, I mean, you're on your way there now. That's what this day is all about. But what you've shown us today is that you are very good at being Jewish. And you, no matter what else happens in your life, you will be a Jewish adult. And here you are showing us today what it means not just to lead your family in prayer, not just to and I don't want to say just because it's a big deal, but not just to take a difficult, let's be honest, kind of dry Torah portion and find something meaningful in it and powerful in it, and then to take it to challenge all of us to make the world a better place. That's what it means to be Jewish. And to do so in an era when all the odds are against you. Right? When you're studying at home and our meetings are on Zoom and everything in us says, like, let's just throw our hands up because it's too hard. You showed us that we can take this hard thing and we can do it and we can do a good job at it and we can do it well. You know more about being Jewish than most people. And no matter what happens, whether you're a professional gamer putting your YouTube videos on how to Minecraft the Roblox or whatever it is you all do, I don't know. Whether you do that or not, you're going to be Jewish and you're going to be good at it. And you're going to show your family what it means to take on this tradition and carry it even in the most difficult times. And we are here with you along that journey and along that path. So we look forward to seeing what else you have to teach us. And we offer you these words of blessing.
Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
May God bless you and may God keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha ve'yasem lecha shalom. May
you always feel God's presence within you, and may you always be blessed with peace.
Ve'yasem lecha shalom. Amen. Siman tov, mazel tov, siman tov. Mazel tov, siman tov, und mazel tov, siman tov. Kehilah Siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov und mazel tov, siman tov. Yehelanu.
So we've had the chance to say nice things to you. Now it's your parents' turns. You may be seated.
Joshua, my favorite son. We're here to celebrate you today and your great accomplishment of becoming a bar mitzvah. Unfortunately, because of COVID, this isn't exactly how we plan to celebrate you and your bar mitzvah, but we have had to adapt. As a silver lining, at least, you know, there's not 300 people staring at you or us right here, right now in person. Today marks the end of a journey for you and the start of a new one, as it was for all of us in this process of becoming a bar mitzvah. It's a great challenge. It has caused you some degree of stress and angst, maybe even some degree of exasperation. It had to be handled and prepared for differently than at times in past because of the pandemic. But it also provided an opportunity for you. You proved yourself, most importantly, that you can put in the hard work, the practice, the preparation for something challenging. It is hard work. It's public speaking, which isn't always easy. It's getting out there and doing something different than perhaps most of your friends around you haven't done or aren't aware of or even understanding of.
Doing all that you have done, and especially during a pandemic, is awe-inspiring. You should be proud of yourself. It's a good lesson in how to conquer some fears and frustrations you may have had along the way. It should show you meaning and grit and tenacity for getting this done and getting it done so well. Look back at this moment with love for yourself in a great accomplishment. Let this be valuable for your inner self, and I hope that this will allow you to boost your confidence and self-esteem. Hold your head up high, Joshua, and smile. This is one heck of an accomplishment. This is also perfect timing in advance of your starting your high school years, where you will be challenged in new and different ways. From your bar mitzvah, you can learn that yes, you can do it, and you can do it really well. You can put together strategies to succeed and prepare yourself for great assignments and events. From your Torah portion, you can learn that the old ways may not be the best ways. You don't always have to accept the old ways just because they were more comfortable. Maybe they were right for the time, but wrong for this time and need improvement. Now you can forge ahead and create your new path. You can create a different way that borrows from the past and changes or improves on it to help make things better for yourself and for all of us. Do this and do this while all being humble and showing by example how to treat everyone with respect and kindness, and you will find your way.
Josh, it is our privilege to be your mom and dad and to be able to be in this great life's journey with you. We've watched you grow up and change and become an amazing person. We love that you see the importance of family in your life. And we love seeing how sweet you are with your friends, the animals we foster, and with their relatives and your elders, and especially the patience you have with your older sisters. We are your biggest fans. Your competitive spirit and passion for what you do will serve you well. We love you very much and always will be here to support and guide you through life's journey. Mazel tov.
Oh, yeah. Josh, before we go ahead and conclude the service, I wanted to take a moment to say how proud of you I am. You sang beautifully today, you chanted flawlessly, and you spoke with a maturity really far beyond your years. I'm incredibly, incredibly proud of you. And I know that your mentor, Jen Garber, who prepared you and got you Bema ready, is very, very proud of you as well. So on behalf of all of us here at your CBI family, we lovingly present this Siddur that you used today to you, Joshua Gullinson, for having successfully achieved all that is required to become a bar mitzvah. Mazel tov from your clergy, Rabbi Kahn, Rabbi Mason Barkin, and me, Kenter Ettinger. Mazel tov to you, my friend. Beautiful.
And Josh, you also have in the maybe it's in the conference room, but all of those gifts on behalf of our congregation that he did receive earlier. There was a tiny Torah rolled to his Torah portion. There's a Kiddush cup and all kinds of certificates and cards and things from the congregation. So we know that you will enjoy all of those things, read your tiny Torah regularly, and most of all, just know that your congregational family is proud of you and excited to welcome you as an adult into our community. So with that, let's turn to our concluding prayers. You can find Aleinu on page 586 or 282. Let's stand.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We turn now in our thoughts and in our prayers to those who are no longer with us. We think of those who have died in recent days, and we remember those who have died at this time in years past. We think of those prior generations of Josh's family who we know would just be quelling to be here, seeing how you are carrying on tradition here today. If there is someone you are thinking of, someone who has died, whose presence you would like to bring into this room with us, I invite you to share their name out loud at this time or to put it into the chat on YouTube or Facebook Live. Let's turn to Words of Kaddish, page 598 or 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash merabah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach irutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayachon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. V'agalau v'izman kari v'imru amen.
Amen.
Yehei shemei rabah mevarach le'olam u'la'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei Kedoshah barichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who are in mourning and comfort to all who are bereaved as we say together,
Amen. So we'll conclude now with a prayer for peace. We'll invite Joshua's family to go ahead and come on up for Kiddush and Motzi. And let us join together. Oseh shalom mimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Let's join together in Kiddush. And Josh, will you go ahead and lead us in Kiddush? It's the short one. You don't have to do the whole thing, just the short one. One line. All right.
Lift that cup up nice and high, like you're proud. There you go.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. L'chaim.
Chaim. It's grape juice. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
It's been sterilized.
Okay.
It's a good year. Good year for grape juice. Okay, go ahead and uncover the challah.
Lift it up like you're hungry.
Very good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. B'tei avon.
B'tei avon, Shabbat
Shabbat
shalom.
shalom,
Thank
everyone.
you for celebrating with all of us this morning. Mazel tov, Josh, Annette, Scott, Jenna, Julia. Josh, you made your family proud today. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
Mazel tov. Shabbat shalom.